Welcome to the Liverpool Community Podcast. I'm your host, Chase Johnston-Lynch, here on Big Condo Online or Liverpool Online. Jesus Christ, the name changes all the time. You know, you've just watched our fantastic new opening for our show and everything, so we're in the midst of change. But either way, we always stay the same by having a guest that we feel represents a member of the community that I want to hear about, and I feel you want to hear about as well. So I'm joined here today by a gentleman named Paul Hogan, not the actor and everything, but just an important person in himself. Paul Hogan from Your Edge. How you doing, Paul?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for coming in. Pretty much, as I said, it must be weird, kind of like being asked to do a podcast about yourself where you're going like, who, me?
Yeah. I've done bits of podcasts before, but they've always been about me other love, which is Liverpool Football Club. So that it's totally different talking about that, moaning about that.
Well, you know what? Listen, you were mentioning the Anfield rap. They've been here in our studios, and big shout out to my man Ian Salmon and everything like that. So hey, we all got love. I get it. You know what I mean? I'm blue.
Oh. Yeah, I've changed my mind.
He's talking about baseball.
Right, okay.
That's the voice of my Bonneville Bill, who should not be talking. Especially when there's no camera on him. But either way, it's Your Edge. So first of all, what is Your Edge?
Yeah, so Your Edge stands for Your Engagement, Development, Growth, Empowerment. Nice. And it was an organisation set up in 2015. My background, youth work, and we were delivering training with young people.
Personal development and training.
And we were bringing organisations in to deliver training with young volunteers. And I was using the word, this doesn't feel very young person friendly. And the more I thought about what that meant, it meant they didn't look like they were enjoying themselves. They didn't look like they owned their own learning. They didn't feel like they were part of it.
Well, wait a minute now. So that's good insight. What did not looking like they owned their own learning look like to you?
So without getting too technical, there's a guy called Paulo Freire who talks about education banking, which is...
Never name a name unless you're going to sue us.
Brazilian. He's a Brazilian. He's not a footballer. Right. But he talks about education. He talks about banking, which basically is a teacher standing in front of someone talking, and we've got to just sit there and take it all in, and then eventually...
It like talking about banking but not being a banker? Talking about money.
Talking about... Yeah, I wish. Talking about anything, and it's like the way a lot of school work works, isn't it? They talk, and you've got to remember it, and then you get to regurgitate it out on a piece of paper when you do your exam.
Well, yeah, but see, that's what I was trying to say there, talking about banking but not touching money. Kind of like, it's hard to take a development course, where you're going in, especially like say with a group of young people, and you're trying to tell them like to be like this and to do this and to do that, and then they get a sense that you actually don't do it yourself.
Yeah, and it's about them, isn't it? It's not about us, it's about them. So it's where they're at, what they need, what they want. So youth work is all about the young person, and it's the young person's journey. It's not my journey.
Yeah,
and the premise being,
I like it what you said. It's about being part of that journey.
Yeah, and whatever part they want you to be of that journey. And Your Edge was born from that. Your Edge was so the idea of Your Edge is if you're part of that, if you feel like you own your own learning and you're enjoying it to some extent, then you're probably going to get more from it. And that's where Your Edge came from.
Now, what I liked is that like. Your background story is somewhat similar to mine. But why don't you tell us this incredible background story of how you came about doing this?
Yeah, so as I say, I've been a youth worker for... I'm in my 40s, early 40s now, should we say. So I've been a youth worker for years. There was a young person who I was working with, really inspiring young person. Started off just coming to like a local youth club, then wants to get involved, volunteers in the youth club, then ends up getting his first sort of youth work job, working in a youth club. Different youth clubs, by the way, different points. Then goes away and sets up his own company called Sports Alive, and I think you spoke to Maria from Sports Alive.
Yeah. That show will be on, Maria.
And basically then from there, I went and worked for him. And as sort of a coordinator for Sports Alive.
How was that conversation?
It was interesting. What's really good about mine and Ryan, it's Ryan Manville, the person I'm talking about. Our relationship is we do disagree, and it's okay that we disagree, and we do have conversations, and we do have our battles, but all for the right reasons, all positive. We find our way through them, and really constructive, and we come from different angles, and really good. But basically, from running Sports Alive, what I think the two of us realised is we brought different things to the table. You know, I had a wealth of experience in youth work. I've done lots of good things, but I've also made every mistake in the book that I can learn from, and other people hopefully can learn from. And Ryan was really driven, had understanding of how to set up organisations. So we set up our own organisation. So very much like that youth work process of young person and adult being in this mutually respected relationship.
It's like a May-December relationship. You know, I mean, like, this is what I like about it, is that, like, you know, sometimes you don't have to be on the same age wavelength. You know, like, you can make a connection with someone, and, you know, like, you can find, you know, our ethos are running parallel and everything else like that. And you have to just be kind of open to the fact that that's a possibility. Yeah. And I mean, like I said, I mean, I started out like that with a young person that we were working with here and everything like that. And I've known him like since he was like 13, you know, or I met another young man who was like about 17, I think, 18. And, you know, he came up to me after a lecture, you know, and said 2 words, Chinese vampire. And I said, you're my best friend. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, you just never know where you're going to make a connection with someone, and you just are open to it. And sounds like your openness to connect here, you know, led into your edge.
Absolutely. And as I say, my background's youth work, and youth work's all about relationships. Yeah. And mutual, not mutual beneficial, mutual respected relationships. And this, you know, I like to think, and I try to think, that I can learn something from anyone. So we deliver youth work training now. And we're trying to develop and support youth workers. When the first time I meet them, one of the first things I say is, I'm going to learn as much from you as you're going to learn from me. I don't care whether you've been a youth worker for 5 minutes or 50 years. You've got something to offer here, and you've already probably done some brilliant things. And actually, what I also say is, the day I think I've learned everything is the day I need to walk away from this and not do it no more.
Now, that's very good advice. Now, also too, is that, like, it seems like a couple of years ago, you guys started to go into the business sector. Why don't you talk to me a little bit about Pro Business Edge? Yeah,
so we've grew really organically from your edge from day one. It's all been word of mouth and contacts and things like that. But what was happening was we were getting asked to do more and more corporate work. So we we started to deliver some first aid qualifications, for example. Now, we realised then that actually there was an opportunity for us to generate some income through corporate work, and that could then support us to do the things we want to do within our communities.
So, I mean, what was the difference, though, corporate work and youth work? I mean, working that together.
I think our delivery style because when I said earlier on, young people friendly training, that's just people friendly training. Young people, I always say, young people we are just young people with more wrinkles. So if training's delivered the same way, so I'm delivering training to a group of adults tonight, and I want them to walk out having, yes, learned something, but enjoyed it, because the likelihood is they're going to take something from it if they've enjoyed themselves and they felt like they can have a conversation. So we've took that model into the private sector. So we deliver first aid training, health and safety. The idea being that we generate the income there that supports us then to at least subsidise some of the work that we're doing within the voluntary sector. So an example being, a school brings their staff in and need first aid qualified staff. We then use some of the resources from that to deliver first aid training within the school for young people. And that's our ambition, and that's where we're working towards.
I mean, it seems like upskilling is like one of your main unique selling points, would you say?
Yeah. I suppose, yeah. I think for me, it's that that whole notion of creating reflective practitioners, whatever you're doing. So people who are thinking, people who are able to question themselves and question others, and utilize the knowledge they've got. You know, the likelihood is they will know this stuff already. It's just whether they're using it or whether they're aware they're using it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's our aim.
So I mean, within your organization, I was saying, like, how many like sessional tutors or staff do you have or call upon? So
we've got between 8 and 15 people who we call upon. The idea is that, you know, I am not an expert in everything, and no one should probably claim to be an expert in everything, but there's people who I can bring on. So we've got people like Tracy Ramsey, who is the lead. She leads the Masters in Youth and Community Work in Hope University. So we're trying to create pathways for people so that they can see, well, I've come in at 17, 18, and I am wanting to be a youth worker, and now I can do my level 2 training, my level 3 training, and then actually I've got a relationship with the tutor at Hope University. Maybe I can go on to university and do my degree. I've got that support there, because ultimately the hardest thing to do is walk through a door. Yeah. But we've got people who deliver first aid training, so we've got a number of people from the fire service who support us in terms of their knowledge with that.
Well, you're actually saying that Ryan himself is a fireman.
Ryan himself, yeah, and that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to bring in people who come at it from a different perspective, but ultimately it's the delivery style for us that matters. Yes, the knowledge is important, but we can all learn knowledge. It's how we get that information across.
I mean, you know, like when we were talking before, I mean, that just need to be like interesting. Is like, it's when you have the experience, like as a sessional tutor or whatever, and you're in front of a group of people, you know, upskilling or talking about stuff. It's better like you know, come from that knowledge that is innate in you, like say fireman, fire service, whatever, and all that other kind of stuff. You know, I mean, like because people can respect that more. You know, it's like, it's not like, oh, I have to read up on some books to figure out what I'm teaching to this class.
Absolutely.
I'm teaching innately from my own, you know, personal experience.
Absolutely, but getting that message across is equally as important. So,
well, yeah, but that's what you say about when you talk about reflective learning. Yeah. I mean, because, you know, I'm trying to say it's coming from you. You already know this knowledge. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, so your sessional tutors, you know, seem to be able to have that kind of background. What do you say?
Yeah, absolutely. So our model is that idea of, it doesn't matter if you know the knowledge unless you can transfer the knowledge. So the example...
Yeah, that's always hard, isn't it?
We had I remember a teacher at school, I won't name the teacher, really intelligent.
Oh, name him, go ahead. Name and shame. Welcome to Name and Shame.
Bear in mind, I'm getting on now, so... but when I'd go up to the teacher and go, I don't understand this. And what they do is say it back to me louder and slower. Now, that didn't help me understand it. What that made me do is think I was thick, I couldn't do it, I was soft, I was daft, whatever words you want to use, none of them are the right words, but not, you know, and that for me is not the model. So the model is, yes, you've got to know this stuff, but you've also got to find a way. And everyone's different. Everyone will take that information in differently. So you've got to find different ways as well, and use different tools.
Yeah, I mean, but that's what I'm saying. I like about how you utilize the word reflective, because it's like, it's about an affability. You know, it's like I would do a lot of cover supervision, you know, like in schools and stuff. And like, you know, I found myself relating more to the hard to reach kids, or the ones I was told that was hard to reach. You know, the kid in the back of the room that the teacher warns you about loudly. And if Mr. Johnson causes you any problems, you just send him down to me, you know, and that kind of thing. And then me and him are having a laugh and everything else like that. So it's just kind of personality or personableness and everything. And
in youth work, when we're delivering our youth work training, one of the things we talk about a lot is this idea that behaviour is just an expression. It's a type form of communication. So if someone's behaving in a certain way, they're trying to tell you something. They need something. So what you've got to try and do is find out what they need.
Well, this is true, yeah. Or you know, there's situations that they got at home or whatever. So. Yeah. But then a lot of times it's also those teachers. That's why it's like, you know, you gotta watch out sometimes for them teachers in them schools, you know, setting their ways kind of thing. So it seems like you also said that you just set up a new base in Toobrook just recently, is that right?
Yeah, so we've just, in the process, all box still packed.
What's that mean, that you're still in boxes?
Yeah, basically, yeah. We're currently moving into a converted chapel in Toobrook. So we've got sort of a training it's an old Welsh. I'm not going to pretend I know the specifics, but old Welsh Presbyterian church.
Okie dokie. I watched that wrestling show. So what are you going to tell?
And it's still being used of a Sunday by the congregation.
Nice.
But we've got like a training space there, office space, lovely mezzanine space, just really sort of nice open space to be able to have really flexible space that we can have some conversations with people.
Harmonizing with the angels.
Yeah, and just a nice space in an area that sort of obviously Tubrick links into so many other areas. So we're looking forward to sort of getting in there, getting going.
Just moved in there.
So literally we've delivered a couple of our programs from there recently, but our office is still, bookshelves still not put up.
Yeah, because you said you do a lot of outreach work anyway, generally. So it's like it's good to be able to have a base, isn't it? Yeah,
so lots of our work we'll go out to organisations because it just suits them. Also, we're still delivering quite a lot on Zoom as well because
Zoom gone.
Well, we deliver youth work training.
And I'm trying to leave in my rearview mirror.
Well, we deliver youth work training across the Northwest, so logistically for people to be able to get to central points. So we're doing things like that as well. What we try and be is flexible to the people who we're working with. So example being like we've got a young mother who is doing our youth work training, so the whole group's sort of whispering for the first 20 minutes while they get the young person to sleep. And then once the young person's asleep, they can get the camera on and they can join in with the thing, but that person's not being excluded because we're finding ways to include people because people's lives are difficult, aren't they? So we want to support people as much as we can.
Yeah. Speaking of support and everything, I was asking you about how are you funded or are you looking for funding?
Always looking for support, always looking for by funding, I suppose we're always looking to work with organisations that have got the same sort of ideas as us and want to be part of the work we're doing. So
somebody's got to fund it.
Yeah. But from So what we want is we want people to work with us on that type of stuff and fund us as part of that. We do draw down funding through local authority, through various charities. We're commissioned, so Youth Focus Northwest are like the regional youth work unit. So they draw down government funding through the National Youth Association, and that's how we're delivering the youth work training. So I think we've got about 80 youth workers on roll currently doing the level 2 and 3, all funded through a government grant. So no organisation is having to pay for that. So
do you work with the HAF Foundation?
We have done some bits with that in the past. We've done stuff with the lottery, Children in Need. We've done lots of things like that. What we're trying to do, as I say, is we want to be able to go through our corporate work, going to these funders and saying, listen, we've got this. Can you come on board with us and support this? That's where we're trying to get to. We want to go, rather than cap in hand, we want to go, this is what we can bring.
Yeah. What kind of partnerships then?
So we've got some really strong partnerships and we'd love to continue adding to our partnerships. So one of the things we do is manage the youth provider funding for the city. So that's the city council budget for youth work. Now, because of the way youth work has developed and because of the cuts that happened sort of 10, 20 years ago and continue to happen at times, we manage that funding and we support the distribution of that to Volorgs. So we've got really strong networks in terms of us trying to support Volorgs ourselves with the city council, with the local councillors. So we're doing some of that type of stuff. So I suppose what type of partnerships I want is partnerships that work for both sides. I do not claim, so lots of our work at the moment is youth work training. I don't claim to be the guru of youth work who knows everything. So people who can bring things to the table, we can support them as well. That's the kind of partnership I want.
No, nice one. I mean, it's just like it's interesting, because it's not like you're working with the young people, like as in some agencies, you're working with the people that work with the young people, like so the trainers, the tutors, the session works, and you're developing their skills, and pretty much in that aspect, isn't it? Yeah,
we do work with young people as well. So we were in a school in Wallasey yesterday, St Mary's in Wallasey, delivering first aid training for year 7s. Brilliant school. brilliant young people. We're going into West Derby in a couple of weeks. We'll go into local youth organisations and deliver. We do champions work. So that idea of young people challenging each other and young people supporting each other. You know, we can stand in front of young people and say, this is what you should do, this is what I should do. But actually young people talking to each other and supporting each other is probably going to be far more effective than me.
Yeah, so we do. So it's a combination.
So we do both. I think we want to remain rooted in our work with young people, because ultimately my knowledge, my experience all gets old really quick if I don't, and that's the same as our tutors. We want to be reflective of the sector, as it is now, but we also want to support.
Well, as the young people often say, you know, like, so what are your social media handles? Like, how do people find you?
We're not great with social media. We're getting better.
There you go. That's why we can't find you. Yeah. Here we are, living on the edge. So far on the edge, we can't see you. Okay.
As I said, lots of our stuff's been organic so far, and we are trying to get better at this stuff and getting our messages out there. But Your Edge Train, I think we couldn't get Your Edge Training, so I think on Twitter we're Your Edge Train. Your Edge Your Edge Training on Facebook. We have got Instagram, but we need to work on that stuff, to be honest.
Yeah. Instagram Reels, you know, TikTok, you know what I mean? Do the dance. Gotta get to the young people.
We have.
And stuff. But I mean, like, I'm just saying that if somebody wanted to support Your Edge or anything like that, like, how would they find you? Like, do you have like a website or
so our website, www.youredge-training.co.uk.
See, you can't do that, man. You gotta know. Hash or dash. You gotta know, bro.
It's hash. No one knows what that is.
Hash.
And we're
underscore.
We're on Facebook as Pro Business Edge as well.
Business Edge, yeah. And everything like that. So I mean, but pretty much, I mean, it's basically small, you know, kind of like been set up by yourself and Ryan. You got, you know, a couple of session tutors. You've been out for a couple of years. You just got a new location base, you know, out in T-Brook and everything. And you guys are doing your thing and working hard. Is that pretty much right?
Yeah. That's exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to make our small difference and support young people and professionals as best we can. Yeah.
I mean, you know, I would say it's like, you know, would you happen to have any like success stories besides Ryan's?
So next Wednesday we've got, I think, 25 youth workers who are going to qualify at level 2 and level 3.
Wow.
And I mean, I suppose the biggest success story was in recent. There's individuals, but from an organisational point of view, is 2 weeks before COVID hit, we were ready to deliver our youth work training courses, and then obviously we go into lockdown. Yeah. So our model, in terms of what because it was all going to be face to face, our model had to change overnight. We took, through that sort of next 12 months, I think we took about 50 youth workers through level 2 and level 3 qualifications, who not only were, you know, was it difficult for us, but actually all credit to them youth workers, because they were doing this course while they were dealing with whatever their situation was, you know, during COVID. And you know, there's so many, like, it's just inspiring meeting youth workers every day. Youth workers who want to sort of make a difference, who are supporting young people, who don't realise how important they are in young people's lives. And, you know, I see that every single day. There's nothing better than seeing that. And then I also get to go and work with young people myself and see sort of the amazing things that young people do. So in St Mary's yesterday, I've got young people who...
Oh, I'm going to St Mary's.
Yeah.
Love that school.
They were brilliant, and they're coming over and they're, you know, thanking us for the sessions. They don't need the teacher to come and ask them to do that, and, you know, they're just coming over and wanting to talk and wanting to find out. They're doing first aid training, how we can help someone. We had someone in year 5 in Gladys Street School, which is in Walton, who basically helped someone who was choking in the dinner canteen. So, you know, them little things, not little things, that's a big thing, but, you know, them things where people are just making a difference, and if we can make any impact to support them in making a difference, they're already doing brilliant things. We just want to help them know why they're doing brilliant things and recognise they're doing brilliant things.
Yeah. No, it's amazing stuff there, Paul. I mean, you know, it seems like, you guys move from strength to strength, you know, like you said about next week, and then also this move and everything. You know, I guess, like, the future, you know, like, where do you see, like, your edge in the future?
So we're just moving into apprenticeships. Yeah. So we're working with Liverpool.
Apprenticeships.
So we're working with Liverpool Football Club on a level 3 apprenticeship in youth work. We want to offer more apprenticeships moving forward. So we're aiming to do more of that, because that for some people, that's a model that works best for them, and we get that. We want, so that would be a big thing that we want to do. We want to continue delivering the level 2 and 3 training. We want to continue creating pathways for people, so that if they want to go into employment, if they want to go into university later, they can see that they can do it. I speak to far too many people, not just young people who don't realise how brilliant they are. And I suppose my what I want is your edge to be someone who's making sure people understand how brilliant they are in every project that we do. That's where I want us to be.
That is my main fascination with teaching, is to see the spark that lights up behind the eyes, or the recognition of brilliance that is coming out of themselves, and then just to only take, you know, a modicum of feeling that you are part of that.
Yeah,
and everything. So brilliant, man. I mean, Paul, this was a great interview, and I thank you for coming in and everything else like that. I think your service does a lot of good things, and people should seek it out, even though we don't know whether it's a hyphen or an underscore.
I can get you that for you.
Get me that? Yeah. But, like, either way is make your presence known, bro, on the internet. Get mine. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like, get Ryan on it or something. Yeah. But either way you look at it, is that this is my guest, Paul Hogan, and everything. I'm your host, Chase Johnston-Lynch. You've been watching the Liverpool Community Podcast and everything, and I kind of miss my headphones. I used to take my headphones off and say, we out of here. So all I could just do is make the most of it. We out of here.